In March 2020, the country went into a national lockdown. Just over 1 year on, and in conjunction with ABI Week here at Headway Bath, we've been talking to service users about their experiences, feelings, and lessons they may have learnt during lockdown, and also the idea of a life in lockdown, even before COVID struck. Do you remember how you felt about just the news of COVID as it emerged?
It was shocking.
Well, I'm not going to be seeing my family for any length of time, and basically I thought, well, I was a bit worried, with the disease being so rampant. So yeah, I was a bit apprehensive, really, to be honest.
Initially, I felt scared, but didn't know what would happen. When I was living in St John's, didn't know what was going to happen there. Apprehensive, and what was going to happen in the future, and how long it would last.
I was really scared and worried about not seeing everybody.
I was more felt sad, because I was happy, to go out, but fed up of seeing the same people, all the time around the village. I wanted to go somewhere else, but it wasn't possible.
Colin, what I want to ask you first is if you think about when we go right back a year, when you first heard about COVID.
That didn't bother me.
And that first time we had to go into lockdown last
It didn't
March
bother me. I tell you, it didn't bother me a bloody at all. I was living a normal day. I go out and I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
If I'm going to get it, I can't stop it. You can't see it.
Yeah.
I go out and you might have a face mask on, you can still get it.
Being able to meet up with people and stuff, being confined to my house, and I can't go out and see people really.
Oh crikey, I can't go to the lads and watch the football and things like that, which I have in my routine. My routine's not going to stop, and I knew I was going to miss it. The structure and routine after brain injury is very important.
I was sad about it because I couldn't see my children.
Well, having seen the treatment of people with COVID on the telly, it has reminded me what I went through, because it's relatively similar to the sort of things that happened to me when I was in hospital, which to be honest, I couldn't really remember much about.
I know that everybody else was quite upset, just knowing that the world is going to change through, the virus.
Worried. Didn't let it get me down, mind. I kept upbeat and, positive. Thought, right, okay, well, we're all in this together. So let's get on with it. Well, I've always been a bit positive, even when I was in hospital. So people have remarked, in fact, don't understand how you can be so positive, after what you've been through. But it's just my nature, really. It's just the way I am.
Obviously, it meant that I couldn't go out or anything. I was getting a bit down, really, and I got on my phone. I got a game. I was just playing it. Well, I've been playing it for over a year now, and I recently lost. Well, I went from 980 million to nothing.
Oh no!
In one day.
Oh no!
That was the day before yesterday.
Was that a year's worth of work?
Yeah.
Andy, no.
Yeah. So I was religiously updating it and everything, and playing it all the time. But then 2 days ago I ran it down and it went to zip.
Thank God, it's not real money, eh?
Yeah.
That this whole year has impacted you and affected you.
It did
then?
affect me because I was enjoying the club. You
were
can't go to
enjoying
the club now.
Yeah, the day centre, you mean?
Yeah, I really got, I get on with everybody down there.
Yeah. Would you say that would be the main thing that you've missed over this last
Yeah.
year then, that you haven't been able to?
It keeps me occupied. I'm in there by myself all the time.
I couldn't wait for him to start easing it, because the thing was, it was not only hard for me, but it was hard for my family.
I've missed going out for meals in restaurants and missed going out to bars and seeing people.
I just sort of had my TV and my music for company, and I used to sort of take myself out in the garden and wheel myself around the grounds, you know, and check out different things and have all these master plans of what I was going to do when the spring come, you know, how I was going to try and feed the birds, you know, my own, and just, you know, just general sort of thing.
And I find doing arts and crafts stuff helped me.
I do artwork. I've been doing artwork in the flat and word search, which I really enjoy doing at home as well. Yeah. I also write poetry, which I've been doing more poetry, and I still do. Been writing poetry since I was a child. That's something I would love to keep on doing.
Well, yeah, I suppose I've had time for reading.
I like watching TV, and I like my WW. I'm going to go and see it again because it was too good.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for this to lift up so I can go to London again.
Basically, I've missed everything because my family live in Wales. We're not allowed, you know, to come over, and I just wanted my mother or my father's shoulder to cry on. That's what I mean by sad. I miss my family.
I mean, my garden's been a big inspiration.
Because I'm growing food plants, I basically was caring for the plants, and that did adore me. It did, yes, because I love plants.
Doing YouTube exercises has been somewhat easier than doing them in person. So, like things like a sort of Joe Wicks type things.
Yeah, I've missed like seeing people in person and doing the stuff that would normally do, but I've really enjoyed taking part in the stuff with Headway.
I can now go on to Zoom and speak to you all, and where we do the discussion group and the music quiz. I join in the music quiz every week with you all.
I've been able to talk to people like this on Zoom.
Is there anything that's helped you feel less isolated or connected through the pandemic? People or things?
Yeah, the Headway Zoom music quizzes have helped a lot.
Oh, really? That specifically?
That specifically, yes.
Okay. What do you like about that?
I like winning. I think it's quite a good exercise for your memory as well.
Life seems to have become Zoom. Everything seems to be Zoom. But it's very helpful.
Well, it's certainly weird, but it's, you know, to get to speak to my friends, which I now like to consider them as all as friends, and I can't wait to get back together with them. I think it'll make all the difference.
Well, this is a new way of communicating for me.
It's not quite the same as seeing people face to face. So I'm pleased that we've had the opportunity to have Headway still being able to run via Zoom, even though it's not in person. And it's a good way to still be able to communicate with those that I would be in group. I just wish I could see the other people that I haven't been able to see. I've find I'm stronger than what I thought. Even though there's been times when I felt like crashing, I've still managed to remain strong. I've been finding ways to still remain okay, and I've been able to pull through the awkward situations when I've felt low.
I don't mind my own company. I've learned that, I suppose. That was something that I suppose surprised me. Because I thought, well, I'll be a bit lonely, like, you know. Which I do get from time to time. I don't mind admitting. I've often said to the guys at Headway, I think about ringing up the double glazing men to come round just for a natter and a cup of tea, you know what I mean?
I don't think if it's anything to do with the pandemic, but obviously since my stroke, my attitudes have completely changed. Whereas before my stroke, I was always arguing with people, like, you know, members of my family and such like. But ever since my stroke, I've got a lot quieter. I don't shout or argue with anybody at all. I just listen when anybody raises a voice. I just let it go all over my head now.
I struggle with the dressing myself because of my right arm, and it's very frustrating feeling that my body is rebelling, really. The other effect is fatigue really is the main problem. And I think I'm probably in denial internally as to, I deny that it has an effect, really. I refuse to admit it sometimes, because when the clinical psychologist explained to me what the effect of the brain injury was, what she wrote out was basically a job description of what I would do, what I did for a living, really.
Right.
And that sort of made me feel a bit useless.
What impact has brain injury had on you?
It's had a bigger impact on me in later years after my injury, because at the very beginning I think you're very focused on recovery, which was the physical recovery, and then the mental recovery takes a lot longer after. In order to put it into perspective and learn, you have to start again and learn new skills and yourself to move forward.
I tend to find that my memory is not as good as it used to be in respect of, let's say, things that have been told to me this morning, and by this time I've forgotten what it is. But if you ask me something that happened, say, 20 odd years ago, then I can tell you about that in an instant. And the other thing is I find I get tired quicker. You know, I'll be concentrating on the television, and the next thing is I'm the credits are coming up, or I've dozed off. Oh, that was good, wasn't it? Oh, I enjoyed that, Phil.
I feel friends and family don't fully understand how my condition affects me.
If you were to give like your loved ones a tip or a piece of advice about to understand you better, what would you say?
Just give me more time. Once I give me time, I get things done in my own time. See the wheelchair, see a disabled person, not the actual person in the wheelchair. Treat them as people. Sometimes people see a disability first, then the person. I wish they would the other way round, the person first, then the disability.
I think I'm the same Charlie that I was before, but people don't always recognise that.
No, I'm always impressed by how kind people are, really.
They could be more understanding of my limitations.
I don't think they really know enough about it. Yeah, which in a way I wish they did, and understand my struggles and understand that there may be people worse off, but that doesn't make me different, and it doesn't exclude how I'm feeling, and it doesn't make it better, if that makes sense. I understand that I try my best every day.
I've struggled with the sense of coming to terms with who Ollie is now. I've struggled to actually look at myself in the mirror and say bluntly and directly, this is Ollie, this is my situation, this is who I am. Which I've now managed to do, and to me that was a big relief.
To people that I've just met and I don't know, it probably comes across as that I'm perfectly okay. And apart from the wheelchair, of course. But I spent a long time in hospital, near-death experiences, with this aneurysm, and it's not to be sneezed at. And basically, I suppose, for want of a better word, every day I open my eyes, another day in paradise, sort of thing. I thank God to be alive. I really do mean that. And the younger folk that I try and install that in, they think, he's bloody hell, what does he know? But it does mean life is really short, and you should grab it with both hands and make the bloody most of it, because before it's too late, you'll be gone. And you'll be looking back on this saying, I wish I'd done that, and I wish I'd done that. Yeah.
Well, I just would love the people to be kind and respectful. I would love the people to try to understand and communicate a bit more, basically, so that people can tell them more often what's going on in their minds. So, that's it.
You as a person.
I like people to treat me with respect. You show me respect, I'll show you respect. You show me no respect, I'll show no respect back. That's what I was taught in the army cadets.
How do you feel that people can show you respect?
By talking quietly and making me understand.
I think I would say I would like us to take a little bit more time to talk to each other and to interact a little bit more. Do things together. It would be nice, even if it's just talking, that makes all the difference. Yeah, I'd like to be treated as an equal.
I would say, don't be afraid to let people in. If they're willing to help you and they come to you, I know initially brain injury can be a very lonely place for the individual, because you don't feel or see your family understand you or understand your situation, but let people in. Because it's still on you and it's still part of you, but then other people can understand where you're coming from. I mean, the Headway groups and different groups are very good at having an understanding to help people with brain injuries. But it's also nice that if a friend really wants to help you, they feel by supporting you, they're doing the best they can do. And it is hard to let somebody in, and it took me long enough. But ultimately, that's the best piece of advice and the best path to go down.
Stay positive. That's the key. There's lots more people out there than you think there are that want to be friends with you and like you and understand your situation. And don't think it's the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. There is life after brain injury. I've got the proof to prove it. If I can get by, then anyone can do it.